You claim to desire wealth, yet you have overlooked the very source that cultivates true success. You talk about triumph, but you fail to delve into the book that lays the foundation of power. Instead, you chase after techniques, attend countless seminars, and collect motivational quotes. All the while, you neglect the fundamental truth that has shaped the minds of every great individual I've studied. You have walked past the one place where eternal law is recorded with absolute precision. In your search for a secret, you have overlooked what has always been right in front of you. A verse, a single verse, that is succinct in words but vast in its power. Its hiding is not due to being lost, but because people have stopped looking where enduring truth resides. This truth is not found in the philosophies of the drifting masses, nor is it articulated by the cacophony of modern voices. It is not dressed in entertainment or coated in convenience. It is inscribed in the timeless book that holds the blueprint for dominion. What I share with you may not be welcomed, as those who seek to keep you in ignorance do not want you to see this truth. The one who grasps it becomes unshakable by fear, impervious to failure, and untouched by scarcity. When you truly understand this verse, you will achieve mental sovereignty, spiritual direction, and material success. There is a scripture so potent, so precise, and so everlasting that its true understanding has the power to rebuild your fortune, renew your mind, and liberate your soul from every whisper of mediocrity that has ever plagued you. I will hold back that verse for now because, if I merely present it as another quote among many, you will likely nod, admire it, and soon forget. However, if you listen intently, if you engage deeply, and if you persist through every word I share, you won't just read the verse, you will embody it. In my journey alongside some of the world's most successful minds, including Carnegie, Edison, Ford, Rockefeller, Schwab, and Hill, I discovered that their greatest achievements stemmed not from mere technique or ambition, but from a profound spiritual understanding. Their thoughts were guided by invisible laws, and their actions were rooted in a deep-seated belief that they were not mere puppets of fate, but masters of their reality. Behind each of them, whether they could articulate it or not, lay this singular verse. Their lives resonated with its truth. They adhered to its wisdom in practice, even without speaking it aloud. That's the essence of their rise to greatness. I am not here to entertain you. My purpose is to unveil the truths that the world tries to obscure. I aim to direct your focus back to the foundational truths that have shaped every extraordinary life, and I want you to realize that you are not exempt from this influence. If your life is chaotic, it is because you have strayed from law. If your finances are waning, it is a reflection of disordered thoughts. If your heart is heavy, your spirit anxious, and your days marred by fear, it is because you have drifted away from the Word, where order, peace, and dominion are inscribed in stone. But here's the uplifting part. The truth has not abandoned you. The law remains unchanged. The door to success is still wide open. What built empires has the potential to build your life. What shaped kings continues to shape you. And what guided the steps of the wealthy can guide yours as well, if you are willing to listen. I have dedicated my life to studying success. I have witnessed individuals rise from impoverished beginnings to heights of power. I have seen young men evolve into founders of industries and have observed how minds unlock wealth by adhering to spiritual laws, even if they do not label them as such. Every time I trace their success back, It pointed to one eternal truth, encapsulated in a singular verse. If you seek what has been hidden from you, you must remain engaged. Treat this knowledge as if your freedom depends on it, because it truly does. Stay until the very end, and I promise you will acquire not just a line of scripture, but the very framework through which wealth, peace, purpose, and power can operate in your life. However, let me clarify. This journey is not for the casual observer. It is not for the drifter. It is not for those who listen just once and forget. It is for the builder, the seeker, the individual who is tired of shallow thoughts. You stand at the precipice of a new reality, but that reality cannot simply be handed to you. It must be spoken into existence and commanded into form through an understanding of law. Before we go any further, I want you to vocalize this affirmation. Do it loudly, with conviction, not lazily or softly, but as a declaration of your alignment with truth. Say, truth is eternal. I build on law. My success is rooted in spiritual order. Repeat this. Let these words cleanse your doubts and sharpen your mind. Allow them to align you, your soul, for the truth you are about to encounter is not mere suggestion. It is structure. It is law. Once you truly grasp it, you will no longer seek permission to prosper. Let us commence this journey together. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. This is the verse they never wanted you to comprehend, not because it is shrouded in obscurity, but because if you ever fully embraced it, you would experience true freedom. Freedom from fear, freedom from excuses, and reliance upon anything external other than the command center of your thoughts. This verse is not just poetic language. It is the blueprint of human dominion. It plainly states that you are not defined by external circumstances. You are not shaped by your immediate environment. Rather, you are molded by the thoughts that reside within you, those you choose to nurture and replay in your mind. You may project the image of a poor person, but if you think abundantly, you are already wealthy. You may lack a formal title, but if you visualize leadership, you embody the spirit of a leader. You might stumble repeatedly, but if your inner dialogue reflects victory, you are already in the process of rising again. Everything you currently possess, be it financial resources, opportunities, or emotions, is born from your thoughts. You are navigating a reality that your mind has permitted, a world constructed from beliefs or dismantled through neglect. Every law of success I have ever taught originates here. Desire begins as thought. Faith begins as thought. Persistence is rooted in thought, and decisions emerge from thought. You cannot take action until you first entertain the thought. You cannot issue commands until you first believe in their possibility. The verse illustrates a crucial point. It does not say, "as a man feels," or "as a man hopes." It emphasizes thinking. This is where the foundation lies, not in fleeting emotions, not in chance, not in ambiguous ambitions, but in intentional thoughts that are nurtured long enough to redefine who you are. Every individual of note whom I have studied adhered to this principle, whether they recognized it or not. They forged their identities within their thoughts and then compelled the world to conform to that vision. Abraham Lincoln thought liberty before he ever became a leader. He immersed himself in it during his youth, envisioned it through obscurity, and pondered over it during defeat. When he ultimately shared his vision, it transformed a nation. Before freeing any enslaved person, he liberated the concept of freedom within himself. Likewise, Henry Ford envisioned motion even before the Model T or the assembly line became reality. He was laughed at, denounced, and ridiculed, yet because he held on to that thought, the world eventually yielded to his vision. What you are does not hinge on your job, your bank balance, or your past. You are defined by your habitual thoughts. A single thought may pass through your mind, but a thought that you hold consistently becomes a belief, and a belief that endures long enough develops into a self-fulfilling prophecy. Each morning, do you wake up contemplating your fortune or rehearsing your failures? Do you think like someone who commands money to obey, or like someone who is perpetually chased by it? Do you contemplate order, wealth, clarity, and decision? Or do you recycle thoughts of fear, lack, shame, and confusion? Let me reiterate, you are what you think. If you intend to alter your life, do not start with your environment. Begin with your inner dialogue. The conversation you have with yourself shapes the reality you perceive. Your subconscious mind, which adheres to every command without question, cannot differentiate between what is positive and negative unless you guide it through your dominant thoughts. It accepts what you repeatedly affirm and what you emotionalize. Once it adopts these thoughts as truth, it begins to manifest them through unseen forces. This principle is not just theoretical, it is a law. A person may exclaim, "I want to be rich," but if their thoughts are constantly fixated on bills, failure, risks, and losses, they will not be rich at heart. Instead, they will have sown seeds of fear, and the harvest will reflect that choice without fail. The verse, "As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he," serves as the core of all creation. It provides a clear explanation of manifestation, indicating that whatever one meditates on will eventually manifest as their reality. Your primary responsibility, therefore, is to cultivate your thought life, not to hustle endlessly, not to scream into the void, and not even to take immediate physical action. Rather, discipline your thoughts first. Before you can build a successful business, you must build the belief in its possibility. Before you can lead others, you must first think of yourself as a leader. Before you can attract abundance, you must think like someone who expects it. If you think like the impoverished, you might inherit a fortune only to squander it. But if you think like the affluent, you could begin in destitution and yet rise into wealth because conditions are temporary. While thought possesses creative power, your mind is fertile ground, and every thought is a seed. You may not see the fruits of your thinking immediately, but over time, that garden will yield precisely what you have sown. If you wish to discern your patterns of thinking, reflect on your life. If the harvest is unsatisfactory, it's time to change the seeds you plant. The initial act of the affluent individual is not to chase money. It is to visualize wealth, to hold on to that vision with certainty, and to expect it as a law of nature. Until this internal truth resonates, no amount of effort will be fruitful. Therefore, I ask you to contemplate this. What are you thinking? And what are you becoming because of those thoughts? Now, state this affirmation aloud, with resolve and strength, not simply as a phrase, but as a declaration of your authority over your future. I become what I think. I plant my future in the thoughts I choose today. Repeat it again. Allow these words to catalyze your transformation. Let them shield you from idle thoughts. Let them purify your mind of debilitating narratives. Set a new standard moving forward. From this moment onward, guard your thoughts as a banker protects his vault. Do not allow any intruder in. Refuse to let seeds of failure take root. Do not let fear grow unchecked enough to bear fruit. You are not imprisoned by your circumstances. You are not cursed by your past. You are not defined by external forces. You are shaped by your thoughts, and those thoughts are solely yours. So, seize your power. Embrace the truth. Internalize the verse that governs all other truths. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Let us proceed. However, know this: thought alone will not suffice. A thought devoid of belief is like vapor. It rises and disappears. But a thought imbued with faith is fire. It transforms the invisible into the visible, ideas into empires. You may conceptualize success, yet if you do not truly believe in that thought, if you do not envelop it with conviction, certainty, and emotional intensity, it will remain ephemeral, a ghostly vision that never materializes in your life. Remember, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Yet, what exactly is the heart? It is not a superficial mind. It is not a fleeting interest. It is the core of belief, the emotional reservoir where thoughts cease to be mere visitors and instead become permanent residents. Thought opens the door. Faith issues the commands. Faith is the impetus that instructs the subconscious, declaring, "This is not a mere wish. This is law. This is not a goal for someday. This is mine." And the subconscious, which always obeys belief, begins to mold your world to adhere to this declaration. Let me clarify. You do not attract what you think. You attract what you believe. Your outcomes do not stem from mere words, but from the emotional intensity that underpins those words, your tone of certainty, and your mental posture that does not beg, but commands. Faith is the essence of things hoped for, the evidence of things unseen. This is not poetic flourish. This is clear instruction, embodying the divine law of manifestation. If something has yet to materialize, but you hold it with fervent belief, it starts to gravitate toward you. Take Charles M. Schwab as an example. He did not come from a position of power initially, but he believed in his own power long before the outside world acknowledged it. He envisioned himself managing an industry even while working on the ground floor. His demeanor, his movements, and his words radiated leadership, inspiring those around him to trust him with responsibility, not because of age or experience, but due to the contagious belief in himself that he exuded. Consider Edison as well. He believed in electric light even before the necessary science was fully understood. He faced countless failures, not because his concepts were flawed, but because his faith never wavered. He held onto the vision until reality yielded to it. Understand this: faith, when held longer than fear, manifests reality. If your faith wavers, so do your fortunes. If your belief falters, your results will scatter. But if you possess unwavering faith like Schwab, Edison, Ford, and Lincoln, the external world must reflect what exists within you. So how does one cultivate such resilient belief? Just as a tree needs daily nourishment to grow, your belief requires consistent reinforcement, daily repetition, ongoing engagement with truth. This is the essence of autosuggestion. You discipline your subconscious through repeated, emotionally charged affirmations of your purpose. When you articulate your goals morning and night, you are not merely speaking. You are instructing the very mechanisms that shape your life, and the more passion you infuse into these declarations, the deeper they take root. Remember, you must verbalize your faith before you witness results. If you wait for external validation, You are merely reacting to circumstances. The wealthy do not wait for evidence. They create it through unwavering belief. Faith does not require permission. It does not query, "Is this reasonable?" Instead, it boldly declares, "This is mine, and I accept it now." And life, in accordance with law, begins to rearrange itself in conformity. However, be vigilant. Faith cannot be sporadic. It must be maintained with diligence, like a fire that requires constant attention to prevent it from dying out. A single missed day, a moment of weak affirmation, a hesitant step. These are openings for doubt to creep in. Faith is cultivated through daily rituals. It is solidified by disciplined practices. You must not leave it to chance. You must internalize it until you exist in a state of faith, speaking it, walking it, breathing it. Now declare this with all the conviction in your heart. I believe the truth I speak. My faith empowers my thoughts. Say it again, not as a chant, but as the foundation upon which you build your future. I believe the truth I speak. My faith empowers my thoughts. Let these affirmations serve as your guiding principles. Let them shape your language, refine your inner dialogue, and govern your reactions whenever fear arises. You are not obligated to comprehend how your desires will materialize. Your only task is to trust that they will. Faith will handle the details. You merely need to supply the certainty. This is how transformations occur. This is how fortunes are built. This is how ordinary individuals ascend to greatness, not by sight, but by unwavering belief. From this point on, let us forge ahead together. Subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to stay updated with more motivational content. Like, share, and comment to support our work and spread the message.